Everyone else, can you please mute your mics? Swarnalata madam.
Sir, சொல்லுங்க sir.
Swarnalata madam,
Tell
can
me
you
sir.
please Swarnalata madam, can you please mute your mic? Mr. Harikarasutan. Yeah, right. Thank you. I am Priya Gopal from National Scholarship Portal. I am just starting the presentation now. Okay. As you all know, NSB is a web-based application that provides one single-stop solution for all the scholarship process, where the children can submit their own application. They start by registering in the portal and then submit their application, and then their entire scholarship application process is done online through the NSP portal. Okay, and it is a simple form. The design of the form was decided by the group of secretaries from a cabinet committee, and with a consultation with all the ministries which are offering the scholarship for which are offering the scholarship schemes, and considering each and every aspect of the schemes offered, the form was designed, and it is bare minimum details are gathered in the application form, and it is very easy to apply. Wherever possible, NSP has provided tool tips, and help facility also is available in the portal. And this is the first look of the portal. This is the first page of the portal, where you can see there are three types of schemes. One is central schemes, and we have AICT schemes also onboarded, and we have separate state schemes. Pondicherry schemes of Pondicherry will be displayed under the state scheme portal, because it is all the schemes are mostly state sponsored scheme. The state schemes contain all the state sponsored schemes. Okay, and whatever latest updates, whatever notification which we want the users to know, that is displayed under the latest updates. And in case of services, there are a number of headings. I will be explaining to you each and every heading separately during the process of the presentation. Okay, and whenever a student is registering in the portal, a guidelines like this is displayed to the student, which specificates that what and all the student should do for registration in the portal, what a child needs, what a student needs in order to register in the portal. So these are the details. There is a list of guidelines, and the student has to approve that guidelines. There are three boxes in the bottom of the guideline which says like they are willing to they should not be surrendering their bank account details, they should not change their bank details, etc., etc. That is also given in the bottom of the guidelines. That guidelines page, it contains much more guidelines to the students, and this is the actual what the students has to do before starting application. What the students should have their own educational documents, like in case of an any application, we always all schemes are dependent upon the percentage of marks gained by the students. So educational documents are needed, and some documents like a bona fide certificate, where the student is belongs to a particular state and he is studying in some other state, that type of certificate is has to be uploaded. Those details the student has to have ready before start applying. And again, the details of bank account should also be present with the student. And in case of pre-metric case, pre-metric schemes, whatever the pre-metric schemes are there, the students can have the bank account in the name of the parents also, either in the name of the mother, or in the name of the father, or in the name of, or a joint account in the name of the student with a mother or father. That is acceptable in case of a pre-metric scholarship scheme. And pre-metric scholarship schemes are applicable from class 1 to class 10. And in case of a post-metric scholarship scheme from class 11 to class 11, class 12 to up to PhD, the bank account should be in the name of the student only. Only that in case of a post-metric scheme, the bank account should be in the name of the student. And again, the portal provides option to update the Aadhaar number of the student. And if the Aadhaar detail, the student is not registered with Aadhaar, the student can register with a bank account details also. But in that case, the student has to upload a bona fide certificate that he is a genuine student. This certificate is issued by the institutes. Okay, or if he has a other enrollment ID, he can enter with the other enrollment ID also. It is not mandatory that either he enter the other or the other enrollment ID. Both are not mandatory. As per the Supreme Court rules, we are not making it, we have not made it mandatory here, but the student has the option to provide the other number or the other enrollment number. Okay, like here you can see here there is a bona fide certificate is generally needed to be uploaded by the student in two cases. One case I already told you, if the institute or whatever school the student is studying does not belong to the domicile state of the student, like the student belongs to Pondicherry but he is studying in Chennai or something. So in that case a bona fide certificate is required, and in case the student is registering with the bank details instead of his Aadhaar details, again the bona fide certificate is necessary. So how to fill the online application form? See, first the date of birth. The date of birth of the student should be provided as per the education certificates. The educational certificates generally, in case of pre-matric schemes where the scholarship amount, in case of all schemes where the scholarship amount is less than 50,000 rupees, the student need not upload any documents. Okay, so all these documents are generally retained by a copy of all these documents. Even though he is not submitting the documents online, a copy of the documents are to be submitted along with his printed application form to the institute. The institute is responsible to maintain these documents, and the district nodal officer or the state nodal officer, whenever he is in doubt of any particular application form, can ask the institute to submit these details to him so that he can cross verify the application. Okay, generally all the copy of the documents are retained by the institute. So the date of birth should match with the educational certificates which the student is having, and the state of domicile, you all know the state of domicile is the state in which the student belongs to, actually have their permanent address, that is the state of domicile. And the scholarship category, there are two types of scholarship category. One is a pre-matric scholarship category and a post-matric scholarship category. And pre-matric, as you all know, class 1 to class 10, and post-matric is like class 11 to PhD. And the post-matric category also includes the merit cum mean scheme as well as the top class scheme, which are schemes offered by the ministries. Hello,
madam, excuse me. Madam, that presentation screen is very small, becomes small. So earlier it was coming in a big screen. Now it is coming as a tile.
but I am sharing the presentation screen. I don't know.
No, it is sharing, but it is become small suddenly. Just
Mr. Manohar, Mr. Manohar,
yes,
sir, you can see in the people tab, Priya Gopal presentation. Just pin it on your screen so that it is shown full screen.
yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and now again the name of the student should be as per the name printed in his educational certificates. Again, the mobile number of the student is very important in case of scholarship application schemes. As you are all aware that NSP provides frequent SMS. Whenever the student submit the application, he gets his application ID and password through SMS. And whenever the student logins for the first time, he gets an OTP in the registered mobile number. And the registered mobile number should not be changed within the until the student is paid for the particular year. We provide an option to change mobile number once a year. Fresh applications also and renewal applications also, the mobile number can be changed only once throughout the course of the scholarship. So it is very important that the student gives a mobile number which is personal to him and he can maintain it for a number of years. So you just instruct the students to do this, because we get a lot of complaints like the mobile number, we have lost the mobile number, I gave the mobile number of somebody else, the application was registered in a what do you call some common place where people go there and the mobile number of that particular owner was given or something like that. We get these type of complaints. That should not happen. The specific instruction should be given to the institutions as well as to the students that the mobile number given should be personal only to the student. They can give, in case of pre-matric applications, they can give the mobile number of either parent, either mother or father, and post-matric students, they can give their own mobile number, or for mother or parents mobile number, but the mobile number should be personal to them, and they should be able to maintain the mobile number properly. And again, email id, whatever email id in which the student wishes to have any communication. And bank account details, again, bank account details, as I have already told you, the bank account details should not be changed until the student is paid for that particular year. Once the bank bank account detail, once a student gives the bank account detail, as I have already told you, the bank should be in the name of either the student or either of the parents in case of pre-matric application, or in case of post-matric application, it should be in the name of the student. And again, identification details, which are some schemes, state schemes, they have made some certificates as mandatory, like caste certificate is mandatory in case of caste specific schemes. So, and in case of bank passbook, copy of the bank passbook is uploaded in case of registering through bank details. So these type of documents the student should keep ready whenever he is trying to register. So once he the student is registering, once he has filled all the application, he gets these three check boxes. The student has to click on these three check boxes, like he has understood the guidelines which is displayed before. When he is saying new registration, a list of guidelines is displayed. He says that he has understood. He has to go through the guidelines and he has to understand that. And second, as per NSP policy, if one child registers more than one application for the same scholarship category, for example, pre-matric category, both the duplicate applications will be ignored and the child will not be paid at all. NSP does a duplication check every year before payment for all the schemes, irrespective of whether it is a central schemes or a central sector scheme. Okay, so you have to instruct the students not to fill more than one application, otherwise both the applications will be ignored. And again, he has to give a thing like I told you, the bank details can be changed only once. So he has to agree that he will not change the bank account details. Wherever the student has Aadhaar linked bank account, sometimes if he registers through Aadhaar, the payment is made through Aadhaar linked bank account also, irrespective of some other bank account details the student is giving. So the beneficiary is received as per PFMS. NSP shares Aadhaar details if available. NSP shares the Aadhaar details as well as the bank account details to PFMS, and the beneficiary is received as per PFMS mandate. Okay, and once he says continue an application, this is the registration form. This is the registration form which is available to the student. Here you can see the first item to be filled is the state of domicile and the scholarship category. Here the student has to be very careful to select the scholarship category. If he wants to apply in the pre-matric category, then he has to select only pre-matric scholarship scheme, and if it is a post-matric scheme, then he has to select post-matric schemes. What happens is when he is selecting a pre-matric application or a post-matric application, the institutes, NSP has more than 16 lakh institutes registered in the portal. So it is not possible to display each and all the institute to the student. So what we have done is we have filtered the institutes to be displayed as per the scholarship category in which the student has registered. If the student has registered, we only display registered as a pre-matric application, then we only display only those institutions which are offering classes from 1 to 10. 1 to 10 or 1 to 12. Okay, and in case of post-matric application, we start from 11th, 12th, and institutions which are offering classes from 11, 12 and further on. So there is a filtering there, so the student should be very careful with which scholarship category he is going to select. And again, scheme type. Coming to the scheme type, NSP has two types of schemes available. One is a scholarship scheme and another is an incentive scheme. What happens is most of the time the students unaware of being registering, they register, select the scholarship scheme type as a incentive scheme. Incentive schemes, there are some central sector incentive schemes available, so that this provision has been made in the registration form. But you should instruct the students as it is. The guidelines of the scheme should specifically say whether the particular scheme is as a scholarship scheme or a incentive scheme. Okay, so rest of the details I've already explained to you. Okay, and here you can enter the Aadhaar details and Aadhaar number, everything is verified. And you have on OTP, first time login, once he gets the application ID, when he says submit, the application ID is sent to the registered mobile number of the student. Whatever mobile number he gives in the registration form, in that mobile number, the application ID will be sent and the password will be sent. And once the student says login, once the student says login, then what happens is this is the type of message which is displayed. It is also actually thing is apart from sometimes what happens is due to some mobile network or due to some network error or some mobile network or something, this the application ID does not get to the student. The student doesn't receive this application ID, the mobile number. In that case, what to do? So it is always safer that whenever this message is displayed, once the registration complete, this message is displayed on the student screen. Whenever this message is displayed, the student can either save this message as a screenshot in his computer, or he can write down the application ID somewhere where he can refer to it easily. Because once he has the application ID, the student has the option to generate a password using the forgot password option. So it is always mandatory, like you note down the application ID which you are receiving in the SMS mobile which you are receiving in the mobile number, or you can save it as a screenshot in your computer screen itself for future reference. Okay, and you say continue. When once you get this, you can just continue on to the application form, or you can just close it and you can log in at some other time and you can apply in the scholarship schemes. So this is the SMS which is sent to the student mobile number whenever the student is registered. Okay. Now the student has registered, he can log in as a fresh application. Here you can see here, this is login to apply. He has to click here, login to apply, and he can apply here. Okay, application ID, he has to enter the application ID. Default password is generally the date of birth sent to the student. And once he enters this and enters the captcha, see there is a captcha here. There is a 6-character captcha which is displayed here. Sometimes if it is overlapping like this, it is always better to refresh the captcha until you get a clear captcha. See, this is not only for the student. Every login screen and the institute login screen, or the district nodal officer login screen, or the state nodal officer login screen, this captcha is available in every login screen. So whenever you are getting a captcha overlapping like this, you just refresh it until you get a clear captcha, and then you enter that captcha and get it login. Otherwise you will be the captcha will not be recognized and you have to enter it again, and all the details you have to enter again and again. So it is much better to refresh it until you get a clear one, and then you log in. So first time login, the fresh students, once in the first time when he's logging, a 5-digit OTP is sent to the registered mobile number. He has to send the he has to enter the 5-digit OTP. The fresh application, in case of fresh application, the change mobile number option is available only once, and which is here. You can see here there is a change mobile number option here. Fresh application mobile number can be changed only once, and that is done in this particular screen. For example, if when the student is registering, he gave because of a typo or something, he gave a wrong mobile number and he did not get the application ID or a password in his mobile number. Okay, so what happens is how to log in the portal, then how to change the mobile number for a fresh application. He has to do it here. Change mobile number. Just a second. For fresh application, I'm saying again and again, the mobile number can be changed only once, and that has to be changed in this particular login time. First time login time only, the fresh application can change the mobile number, and he can change the mobile number. He can enter the application ID and whatever details, and you can get the OTP again in the new mobile number given, and you can confirm the OTP. Okay, this is the update mobile number screen which is sent. You can give the new mobile number here and say update and send OTP. The OTP will be sent to the mobile number which is entered here. And again, after entering the OTP, the student has to change the password. The password should be 8 character. All the excuse me. Hello. Okay, the password should be the rules of password is displayed here, and the student has to change the password here. Okay, this is the basic login flow chart. Once the students log in, profile of the student, application ID is displayed, general information to be displayed. The application form is divided into this many categories here. Okay, so first the profile of the student, where there is that is like a domicile state of the student, the student scholarship category selected, and the name of the student, father name, mother name, date of birth, annual family income. These are displayed in the profile application of the student, and the academic details to be filled. The second part of the application form is the academic details to be filled. Which institute he is studying, which course he is studying, what is the current class year, first standard, second standard, or those things that has to be filled here. And other details, then other details, like in case of some of the schemes, the student is a disabled student, so details of such disability is entered in this other details form. Or if in case of some central sector schemes, the father's profession also qualifies him for the scheme, so they can select the father's profession there. Those are displayed in the other details part. And in case after that, the student enters the contact detail, like the address, home address, and district, block, etc. That is here. And based on the general information and academic details filled by the particular student, general information and academic details filled by the student, and in some scholarship schemes, the other details also, the schemes are displayed to the particular students. A number of schemes are displayed in radio buttons. The student will be able to select only one scheme in which he wants to apply. And below the scheme details, based on the scheme selected, whatever scheme the student is selecting, based on the scheme selected, the scheme related documents, that there is a mandatory requirement for documents for some of the schemes, and those documents, list of documents, will be displayed there. The student has to upload all the documents there, and then he has to final submit. This we can see in the further shots here. This is the application form when the students log in. When the student logins, this is the application form. You can see this the name of the student being displayed here, and his application ID. And a dashboard, student dashboard, is generally displayed here. The dashboard is common to student. Every login, either it be institute or it be a state or district nodal officer or a student, a dashboard is displayed here. And you can see here the dashboard has a status of various stages of application, as well as the bank detail validation, the payment validation, whether payment has been processed or not. And in case of schemes which have a merit list processing, whether the application has been processed in merit list or not, those details are displayed in the dashboard of the student. Okay, and this is the application form. As you can see in the general information, first is a state of domicile, scholarship category, name, date of birth, gender. There are some schemes which are available only to girl childs. Here they have to select that also. Religion, in case of minority schemes, they have to select the religion. And in case of caste specific schemes like SC or ST, they have to select the community or category here. Okay, and if the student has registered with an Aadhaar number, the Aadhaar number is displayed here in encrypted form. And mobile number, if the student has registered, whatever mobile number the student has registered with, that is also displayed here. And again, whether the student is a day scholar or a hostler, that has to be selected here. And second is the academic detail. Academic detail, as I told you, the first the student has to select the institute. If he clicks on select the institute, he can select the institute here, and class, whichever class he is studying, and then the present class or course year. In case of class 1 to class 12, the course year will be displayed as 1, because these all class 1, class 2, class 3 are 1-year courses. So by default it is displayed as 1, and selection option is also 1 there. So there is no confusion here. They can just select 1 and go further. Okay, and in case of post-metric applications, they have to select like which board they gave the 12th examination, and details of the 10th passing exam, 10th passing details. Wherever there is a star mark mentioned in the application form like this, it is a mandatory field. The student has to enter those details mandatorily. Wherever there is no star here, the student can bypass these details. And like other details, like I told you, other details, whether he's an orphan, whether he's a disabled, all these details are entered here. And the profession, parents profession, in case of like in case of war schemes or in case of a labor schemes, there they have to select the student parents profession. And IFSC and bank account number are not editable. Again, like in Aadhaar number, mobile number are not editable. These are entered to whatever details the student enters during the registration process are not editable generally. So now you ask me a question: what happens when a student enters with wrong details? For example, he has given an IFSC code wrong, or if he has given the mobile number or he has given the other number wrong, or some other details, name they have entered the name as wrongly, or they have entered the gender wrongly. Instead of male, they have selected female and they have registered. So what happens then? So in that case, in case of fresh applications, the student has the option to withdraw the application here. As you can see, there are options here like print your application, change password, withdraw application, and log out. And the student fresh application before final submit of the fresh application, before final submitting, because submitting the application to the institution, the student has the option to withdraw the application, and then he can register the another application with the same details again. Okay, he can register in the portal with the same details again. Once he finally submits the application, none of the registration details can be changed. Whatever details he is entering during the process of registration cannot be changed after the student finally submits the application. Okay. Sometimes what happens is the institute marks application as defective because the name mentioned by the student is wrong, or the district nodal officer marks the application as defective, that the detail, some or other registration detail is wrong. So once the final submission is done, the student will not be able to withdraw the application, nor he can change the registration details given. Okay, so even though marking the application defective, it will not help. The student has no other option to again resubmit the application with the same wrong data. Okay, these are the contact details, and like you see, the schemes are displayed here. Whatever scheme, as per the eligibility criteria, entered by the student, the schemes are displayed here. Number of schemes, if the student is eligible for more than one scheme, the schemes are displayed here, and the student has the option to select in which scheme he has to apply. Okay, these are the documentation. After selection of scheme, these are the documents which are generally as per the scheme selected, the documents which are requested by the department which is offering the scheme, whatever documents they are needed for processing of the application, this is listed here, and the student can upload each and every application. And as for bona fide student of the institution, what happens is the bona fide, the student can download. NSP generates a format of bona fide certificate automatically with the registration details given by the student, and the student can download this particular bona fide certificate and get it signed and stamped by the head of the institute, and then scan that bona fide certificate and upload it here. That is the process of uploading the bona fide certificate. Okay, and now we are coming to the second part: how to log in as an institute. In the institutes or login through this institute login. Okay, there are two types two places where the institute generally can be searched. In the first page of the portal, in the first page of the portal, if you can see, there is a search institute option. There are whenever you click on the search institute option, what happens is you can enter this institute, state, district, whether it is a school or college or ITI, and then name of the institute. You give these 4 details and then get the institution list, or you can just enter the ISHE code or the DICE code of the institute or NCVT code of the institute, and based on this number also you can search the institute. These are the 2 types of institute searches available in the portal. This you can see, like here, it is everything embedded in a one single form. Basically here you are entering the institute, state, district, college or institute or ITA, school or ITI, or first 3 characters of the institute name and get institute ID list, or you can enter the ISHE code or DICE code. You can select from this particular drop down and you can enter it here, and you can get the institute list based on this here. The list of institute is generally displayed like this. You will get like institute registered, whether the institute is already registered on NSP, whether the KYC has been done by the institute. KYC is the form like the institute has to provide all the details of the institute along with the proof of the institute nodal officer, ID proof of institute nodal officer, as well as the approval, ISHE or DICE approval document. All these details are to be submitted first. When the institute is first registered in the portal, these details have to be filled by the institute and submitted online in the portal, as well as take a printout of the submitted application and submit to the district nodal officer. The district nodal officer, along with the documents submitted along with the application form, KYC form, the district nodal officer has to verify all these details, cross verify all the details, and he has to find out whether the particular institute details given is valid or not, and he has to approve the particular KYC document. Only after the approval of the KYC, the institute will be able to verify the applications which are submitted in its by the students studying in that particular institute. So KYC approval is mandatory for each and every institute, and you can see like each and if the KYC is approved, then second process is like the institute has to select the courses offered by it, and the fee amount has to be updated against each and every course offered. So those details, what are the courses which are offered by the institute, are generally displayed here in case of things. And this is the login screen which is displayed for an institute. As you can see, there is a forgot password option available here also. Whenever the institute forgets its password, you can use this particular option to regenerate the password, or it can contact a district nodal officer for reset of institute password. In both ways, the institute can get a new password whenever it forgets, and the institute has to say, for example, if the institute wants to verify new applications like which belong to the current academic year, it has to select the particular academic year here in the drop down which is shown here. Okay, and if it wants to see details of previous year data like 2019-20 data or 2018-19 data, then it can log in that particular academic year, and it can get the data from that, like a list of verified applications which were verified in the academic year of 2018-19. That list also it can get, but it has to log in the specific academic year. Data will be displayed as per the academic year selected. This is common. This particular login screen is common both for institute as well as the district and state nodal officers. Even the district and state nodal officers, they have to log in the specific academic year to get the data of that particular specific year. Okay, now after institute login, the institute has to do these following things. Whether there are 4 sections available, there are 3 sections available in each and every institute login. These 3 sections are common both as well as institute, common for the institute as well as the district: the administration section, the verification section, and the reporting section. Though the links may vary, but these common headings are available for both district nodal officer, state nodal officer, as well as the institutes. In case of administration, what are the links available? Update profile link is available. For example, the institute is registered last year, 2019-20. Okay, and the nodal officer of the institute changed during the next academic year. How to change the KYC has been approved. The institute is KYC approved. KYC approval is done generally only once, unless otherwise there is a change in the institute ASHA code or DICE code. Okay, the KYC is done only once. So how to change the profile, how to change the nodal officer contact details of the nodal officer? For that, use the update profile option, and we'll see details also later on. And add update details is the place where the institute selects the course levels offered. Course level 1 is for class 1 to 10, course level 2 is for class 11, 12 and on. Course level 3 is for undergraduation, course level 4 is for post graduation. It goes on like this. Okay, so whatever course level is offered by the institute is added here. First, the institute has to select the course level, and based on the course level selected, the institute then has to add the courses, and then based on the courses selected, it has to update the course fee applicable to each and every course here. So that is the process which is generally done in the institute login. And institute login, the institute has to do this only once, basically only once, unless otherwise there is a change in the courses offered, or it has to add any other new course or any other course level. Other than that, it is generally done only once. This is the profile. The profile contains these details, and the PAN number of the institute, the bank account details of the institute. Sometimes in some schemes, the payment is done directly to the institutes instead of the students. For that case, we will be needing the bank account details of the institutes. The institute has the option to provide these details or not provide these details. Okay. So this is the login screen of the institute, which will be shown to each and every institute here. And this is, as you can see, there is an update profile, there is add update details, and there is a change password option for the institute. So if the institute wants to, if the nodal officer changes and the institute wants to change the password so that the previous nodal officer will not be able to access the login of this particular institute, so they can use this change password option to change the password. And this is the profile form which is displayed in the institute login. Here, as you can see, the ASHA code or NCVT code, which is already registered as per the KYC approval, is not editable, nor is the name of the institute editable. The name of the institute, the district of the institute, these details generally actually NSP gets these details directly from the Department of Education. Either school education or higher education. School data is got from the Department of School Education, and higher education like colleges and institutes, that is got from the Department of Higher Education. We directly get the data through API integrated with the Department of Education. So what happens is the ASHA code or DICE code of the institute, the district in which the institute is situated, and the name of the institute, these details are directly got from the master data which we receive from the Department of Education, and because of that, these details can not be changed by the institute. Okay, and you can see the rest of the thing. The registered certificate is the approval certificate for a ASHE code or the DICE code or the NCVT code, whatever is there. That detail has to be uploaded here. The file has to be uploaded here. That file is again uploaded generally in case of KYC forms also. So once it is uploaded, it says the file is uploaded here. Okay, and the contact person details. This contact person details can be changed. Then here we have given the option to give the contact person details. Second is the second option. We have now come to the add update details by the institute, and here, as I told you, it is the add update course level and the add update course, annual course fee, and update annual course fee. Say for example, in case of every year in some institutes, the fee amount changes for every academic year. So in that case, we have given provision to update fee as per category wise, year wise. Fee amount can be updated for each and every course which the institutes has selected in its login. Okay, these are the 4 buttons which are generally displayed when the institute clicks on add update details. Course level, you have to select the course level here. Like I told you, the course level starts from class 1 to 10, class 11 and 12, undergraduation, post-graduation, MPhil, PhD. Those levels are displayed here. Diploma, certificate, everything is displayed in this particular drop down. The institute has to select this level and then submit it. Like once then the institute has to select add course button. Add course button, first it has to select the course level which it has already selected. Like it is shown in the screen. The institute has selected school class 1 and 10 and HSB up to 12. The school is a higher secondary school and it has selected up to class 12. So it can select only class first it has to select the course level, either one of these course levels, and then it will be able to add courses in that course level. For the institute has to add class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5, etc. Every class has to be added. Okay, course level, and the courses will be displayed here. It has to add each and every class in its login. This is mandatory because this is very important in case of institute, because only in the student application form which I told you earlier, I just want to show you guys. Whenever the student selects the institute, the next column the student fills is the class in which he is studying. That drop down will be filtered as per the institute selected. Only those classes which the institute has added in its login will be displayed in that drop down. Say for example, the institute is offering classes from 1 to 10, but it has added only class 9 and class 10 in its login. So students who are applying for class 3 will not be able to select anything from that institute. The class 3 will not be displayed in that particular drop down. So this is very important that the institute adds each and every course offered by the institute in its login, so that those classes are displayed in the student application form. So whatever is selected here will only be displayed in the student application form. So the institute should be very careful around here. And again, this is the fee amount updation. As you can see, the category wise fee amount can be updated. Say for example, once institute class 3 SC category fee amount is less, ST category fee amount is less, general category fee amount is more. So those things they can select. Even for girls the fee amount is less, or boys the fee amount is more, or something like that. That can be selected here. Or if the fee amount is common for all, they can just select all category and then give the admission fee, tuition fee, and other fee, miscellaneous fee amount. Whatever the fee amount, other than admission fee and tuition fee, whatever other fees the school is charging, like the hostel fees or book amount, book fees, or some other allowances that is charging the student. So those amount can be entered in the others, like these things has to be entered here. One of the important things which NSP has introduced this year, I am keeping on speaking. I just want to know whether everyone is following. Kumaran sir?
Yeah, please. We are able to listen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay then. From this year, NSP has introduced the important modification in the application form of the students. Here, from this year, we have removed the fee columns from the students' application form. Earlier, the student application form, the student used to fill the fee details, admission fee, tuition fee, and other fee. Sometimes student unknowingly left it 0, so that he did not get any scholarship amount at all. So in order to avoid that thing, this year these 3 columns has to be filled by the institute when they are verifying the application form. They need not fill it application by application. They have to use the add update detail to for every course, whatever detail which they are filling here, like the admission fee, tuition fee for this particular course, whatever admission fee, tuition fee, and other fee they have entered in their login, that will be automatically populated in the student application form. Okay, so if only if there is any change, like some amount, for example, in some cases the student gets more money, student has been charged, one particular student had been charged extra for something else, so that the other fee amount for that only that particular student has changed, the institute has the option to edit the fee amount also in the student application form. The fee amounts, though the fee amount are automatically populated and displayed to the institute while verifying the student application form, the institute has the option to edit the fee amount at the time of verifying the application also. Say for example, in case the institute has added the course but it has not updated the course fee in its login, what will happen is, while verifying the student application who has applied in that particular course, the fee amount, fee detail will be displayed as -1. All three columns will have -1 as the value. So unless the institute edits those column and inserts the fee amount, it will not be able to verify the application. Okay, this is the annual course fee updation which I showed you earlier. And in case of like I told you, some year-wise fee amount modification, in case there is a modification to be done in the course fee amount entered, the institute can use this update button to update the fee amount. Okay, once it logs, not only does it has to enter the detail, it has to log the detail entered. It is mandatory that it has to log the details entered, otherwise the student application form will not be populated. Until it is logged, the fee amount is correct, and the institute agrees that the amount entered is correct and log the detail like this is the fee, only then the amount will be populated in the student application form. So it is mandatory that once entering the fee amount, the institute logs the fee amount also. This is the change password form. You can enter the old password, new password. Generally, the password changing process is the same in all places. Either it be the login screen, or it be the district nodal officer login screen, or student login screen. The change password is option is the same. Okay, and now we are administration part in case of institute login is over. Now we are coming to the second part, that is the verification by the institute. For say, one of the important things here is when the KYC of the institute is not approved, institute has not submitted the KYC form. In that case, what will happen is the institute will not be displayed any of these verification option. Okay, the institute will be displayed only update profile, and the KYC form will be displayed. Administration and the KYC form will be displayed until and unless the KYC form is submitted and all the other details are submitted. KYC, and only after the approval of the KYC form, thus add update detail link will be displayed in the institute login. So it is mandatory that the institute, every institute, newly registered institute, has to update the KYC form, and once it got approval from the district nodal officer or a state nodal officer, the other links will be displayed, like updating of course fee and updation of course level courses. Every other option will be displayed only after the approval of the KYC. Okay, so once during verification, there are 4 options displayed. Main 4 options are here. There are 2 types of applications. One is a fresh application, one is a renewal application. Renewal application is like the student applied last year and he's applying, say for example, the student is class 1 and he's applying in the pre-matric minority scheme. He is eligible for the pre-matric minority scheme till he finishes class 10. So he can just go in for renewal, and he need not register every time in the portal anew, he can just go in for renewal and renew his application. While renewal of the application, minimum details are entered, like percentage of mark entered. Basically, percentage of marks entered is got from the student, and the student can just update it and submit the form in case of renewal. Okay, and application verification is for fresh application, verifying the fresh applications. Application re-verification, say for example, while verifying the application, the institute finds any of the detail there are while verifying the application. Let me go through one by one. Okay, application verification. So when the institute clicks on view detail, once the institute clicks on application verification, an OTP is sent to the institute. Upon entering the OTP, this screen is displayed, and the list of applications which are pending for verification by the institute is displayed here. In this application, in this particular box. Okay, and the institute has the option to filter the application by giving directly the application ID. Also, there is a search button here. You can search one by one also, and all the applications are listed here. And view detail will display once clicking on the view detail. Just clicking on the view detail, the student application full registration, full application form of the student will be displayed. The full application form of the student will be displayed to the institute. Okay, like this. The application verification form will be displayed like this, and here, as you can see, the admission fee, tuition fee, and the miscellaneous fee column will be displayed to be filled by the institute nodal officer. We have given it specifically, and the institute can view all the documents uploaded by clicking on this I button. Whatever document is uploaded by the student, it can be viewed by clicking on this I button. Here in this particular screenshot, the student has uploaded only the bona fide certificate. Okay, and the institute can edit this fee amount. For example, if the institute has filled the fee amount as 500, 200, and 700 in its login, then it will be automatically populated as 500, 200, and 700. In this form, the institute has entered 111 as the fee amount, so that is being displayed here. Okay, and the institute can cross verify also whether the correct amount is being displayed here. It can cross verify also by clicking on the view field as in institute profile. Okay, so that can be cross verified here. And okay, so we have specifically asked for the cabinet committee mandate, any scholarship scheme which in which the scholarship amount is less than 50,000 rupees, no document is needed by the student to be uploaded. So that is the condition. Other than the bona fide certificate, no document needs to be uploaded. Okay, once the institute enters all these things, you can see here there are two check boxes here. All the documents for the scheme are verified and copied and kept under my custody. That is, as I told you before, the student has to submit the printed copy of the application form, NSP application form, as well as other documentation copy like his caste certificate, domicile certificate, bona fide certificate. All copies are to be submitted to the institute. The institute has to maintain all these details. Okay, so and the institute here has to agree that it has already got the documents from the student. If it finds that any of the documents is missing in the application, the institute can just mark the application as a defective application, and the application form, once it is marked as defective, it will go back to the student and SMS will be sent to the student. And once you are marking defective, the institute nodal officer has to enter here what is the reason for defecting the application. Say this is missing, so that message will also be sent to the student as SMS. Once it is defected, the message will be sent to the student. In all three cases, all four cases, you can see four buttons here: verify, reject, defect, and fake. Any of the button clicked by the institute, immediately an SMS will be sent to the student, like your application. In case of verified application, in the SMS sent will be the application ID this and this is verified by the institute. In case case of rejection of application, the application is rejected by the institute, and the reason for rejection, which is entered in the remark column, will be sent as SMS to the student. The same is the detail with the defect of application. Whenever the application is defected, again the application is defected message will go to the student, as well as the remark, whatever remark the institute nodal officer is providing. And in case if a particular application, the institute finds that particular application does not belong to the institute at all, or it seems like all fake details, or it finds out that it is a fake application, it can mark the application as a fake application also. Once marked as a fake application, the student will not be able to apply again in the portal. Okay, in case what happens is the district nodal officer has to district and institute nodal officer, they have to take care here before marking any application, before rejecting or marking any application as fake or fake application. So since once you reject the application or you mark the application as fake, the student will not be able to apply again in the portal. You have to take care. And there sometimes what happens is the student of one government school, there are a number of government school registered sector wise. Okay, block wise schools are there. Government school block 1, government school block 2. Instead of applying government school block 1, the student wrongly applies in government school block 2. In that case, what to do? What will happen to the student application? The government school block 2 does not have the student details. Government school block 1 cannot verify the student application as it does not appear in the school login. So what to do in that case? So in that particular case, the student has to approach government school block 2 and get his application defected by that particular institute. So the application comes back to the student, defective application. Then the student can change the institute to government school block 1, and then he can apply. After that, the application will be displayed in the government school block 1 institute login. So these things, if the government school block 2 rejects the application claiming that this student does not belong to the particular institute, then the student loses the opportunity to apply further, continue his application further in the portal. So you have to take care before rejecting any application or making any application as fake. And one more thing I need to tell you here is any application which has been wrongly verified or which has been wrongly rejected, or which wrongly verified or wrongly rejected, can be recalled by the institute. This option is available for both the institute as well as the district nodal officers. Okay, there is another option which is available to the institute nodal officers as well as the district nodal officers and state nodal officers. Verified, rejected, defected list. There is this thing is available in the report section, and once clicking on this, using this particular link, any nodal officer, either he be an institute nodal officer or a district nodal officer or a state nodal officer, what they can do is they can recall the application. Say they have wrongly verified the application, they can recall the application and they can re-verify the application, either mark it as defective or reject the application. Whatever they want to do, they can do it again for that particular application. And in case of rejected applications also, these applications can be recalled by the institute as well as the district and state nodal officer. Using this particular option, they can recall the application back and they can re-verify the application. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say here. Again, this second checkbox, admission fee, tuition fee and miscellaneous fee, before entering, because the scholarship amount calculated to the student depends on these columns. Mainly the fee amount of paid to the student depends on these 3 columns. The institute has to carefully verify the amount entered and recheck the amount being displayed and verified, and click on this checkbox before verifying the application. Until and unless the institute clicks on these 2 checkboxes, the verify button will not be enabled. Okay, so like I told you, the admission fee detail entered is 111, and if the institute wants to change this fee amount also, it can change here. Okay, this is the display which is like view fee amount entered as in profile. If you click on that button, this particular pop-ups are displayed. Now we are coming to the report section, which are displayed in the institute login. We have the verified application list. We have the verified application list, fresh and renewal, and defected application list, fresh and renewal, and rejected application list, fresh and renewal. Say, please note it down here. There is no fake application list. Once verified application can be recalled, a rejected application can be recalled, a defected application can be resubmitted by the student. But once an application is marked as fake, the application, nothing can be done on that application. It cannot be recalled. It cannot be enabled again. The student loses the opportunity once and for all, once it is marked as fake. So before marking any application fake, the nodal officer, either he be a institute nodal officer or a district nodal officer, a state nodal officer, this option is available to all three. So you have to take care before marking an application as fake. Now, as I told you, verified application list, if you want to recall a verified application which is a fresh application, you have to use this button. And again, if it is a renewal application, you can you can use this button. Same goes with goes with the other three buttons also. Now you have a fresh registration report, renewal application list of 1920. This renewal application list contains the list of applicants, students in that particular institutions who have been enabled for renewal in the next academic year. For example, 2019-20, a number of 5 students from that particular institute have been selected to apply for renewal for the next academic year 2021. So that list will be displayed here in the renewal application list. And fresh applications, 1920 renewal applications and 1920 fresh applications who are being selected. So these details will be displayed here. Like I told you, the verified, defected, rejected list, all the buttons which were displayed in the previous screen will come under this particular link. Okay, verified flash application list, it will be displayed like this. What is the current status of the application, whether it has been verified by the second level nodal officer or not. Every application goes through 2-level verification. The first level is generally, first level is always the institute. After final submission by the student, the first level is institute, verified by the institute, and second level is can be either a district nodal officer or a state nodal officer, and in some case of central sector schemes, it can be the ministry directly. Okay, so that status is displayed, whether it is pending with the district nodal officer, whether the district nodal officer has verified the application or not. Those details will be displayed here in a report. The institute can verify this report also. Now we are coming to the next part of the portal, that is the second level nodal officers, that is the district nodal officers, the state nodal officers, or the ministry nodal officers. The officers login is available just here. The district login, state login, or ministry login, it will be displayed like this. Once at the login screen is the same as the institute login screen, which I told you before. First they have to select the academic year and then the login ID and password. NSP, whenever a new scheme is introduced, NSP creates in case of a central sector scheme, the ministry has to create the state user for that particular scheme, central sector scheme, and the state user in turn has to create all the district users. That is the process goes on. In case of state schemes, NSP creates a state user and shares it with the department. The department has the responsibility to create create district user. Okay, this is a district login, district officer login. That is why there is no create user option available here. But in case of a state nodal officer login, there is an option add district user option is also displayed under the head administration. Okay, So if you can see, once the district nodal officer or the state nodal officer logs in, this is a general information which is displayed here. What is the name of the login here? You can see here, and what is the IP from which the nodal officer is using the portal, and you can see the name of the scheme to which he is a nodal officer, like whether he is a pre-matric BOMA nodal officer or he is some ST scheme of Puducherry nodal officer. That is displayed here. The name of the scheme is displayed here, and which particular state the scheme belongs to, and which particular district the scheme belongs to is displayed in here. And again, the name of the nodal officer is displayed here, his mobile number is displayed here, and the email ID given while registration is displayed here. And here there are two options here. You can see the edit profile option and change password option. Using the edit profile option, the nodal officer can change, like the institute nodal officer change this profile detail can also be changed. Okay, and change password, again you can use this option to change the password of a nodal officer. Again, in a district nodal officer login or a state nodal officer login, these three main links are available: administration, verification, and reports. Okay, under the head administration, these are the options available. Scheme schedule fresh. Okay, what is scheme schedule fresh? Scheme schedule is the scheme dates of the scheme which the particular department asks NSP to set, like what is the scheme closing date for scheme, what is the closing date for institute, what is the closing date for district. All these details will be displayed here. It will be displayed separately for fresh, and what is the date. If there is a renewal, sometimes what happens is renewal is opened separately. Renewal is open separately, so those dates are displayed under the scheme schedule renewal. Okay, add institute or school. One of the main differences which NSP has introduced this year is NSP has already provided the list of NSP is already added all the new institutions which we have got from the Department of Education available to the nodal officers, district and state nodal officers. All they have to do, if the institute is a new institute, all they have to do is reset the institute password. They need not add the institute because it is already added in the portal. They just have to, they can either go to add institute or they can go to reset institute login password. They can reset the institute password by giving searching for that particular institute, as I showed you earlier, using the state, district name and type of institute. Or you can just give the Aisha code or the DICE code of the institute, search for the institute. The institute will be displayed and you can reset the institute password. Now, verification of institution registration form. The verification of institution registration form is the KYC approval of the institute, and and the district nodal officer has the option to see the list of institutes. Not only the student application can be marked as fake, even whole institutes can be marked as fake. So by the district nodal officer or the state nodal officer, any department nodal officer can mark any particular institute as a fake institute, and students of the students who have applied in that institute will also be marked as fake by default. Once an institute is marked as default, the students will also be marked as fake by automatically, and the list of that institute is also displayed here. This is the profile update for the district nodal officer, which you can see the contact numbers, telephone numbers, all these details. You have to fill it and then submit. This is the scheme schedule, which I told you the dates. What are the dates? Here you can see application closing date, institute closing date, defective application closing date, what is the state verification date, and what is the district verification date, and this again is the renewal schedule. And you can see here, this is the add institute or reset institute password screen, where as I told you earlier, you have to search for the institute here, and then this institute, the search result will be displayed like this. So institute is registered on NSP, and whenever you have to select it from the radio button here, and then you have to say reset password. And once you click on reset password, it will ask for the institute mobile number, if there is any change in the institute nodal officer mobile number, and you enter, the district nodal officer has the option to enter the new mobile number and the name of the institute nodal officer, and then he clicks on reset password. The new password will be institute user ID, and password will be sent to the institute nodal officer mobile number, which the district nodal officer updates in that particular form while using reset institute password. Now we are coming to the how to change the mobile number of the district nodal officer. The district nodal officer whatever mobile number which is updated by the previous district nodal officer, that OTP will be first sent to the old mobile number, and then new mobile number. The nodal officer has to enter both the OTPs in order to change the mobile number of a district nodal officer. This is a form through which a mobile number of the district nodal officer can be changed. As you can see, sorry, this is the reset institute password option here. Okay, and this is how it is changed. You can just change the this is the please enter mobile number. Here you can change the mobile number of the institute nodal officer, and then you can say submit, and it will reset the institute password. And now we are coming to again reset institute password. Actually, currently, even though both the options are available in the nodal officer login, add institute password and reset institute password, because earlier till last year, the nodal officer first has to add the password, add the institute if it is not already registered in NSP, or if it is already registered in NSP. The reset institute password option was given for institutes which are already registered in NSP but have forgotten the password, and the add institute option was given in NSP for adding a new institute to be registered in NSP. So that is the differentiation between both the options here. But from this year, as I told you, there is no need to add the institutions. The institutions which are latest available is already added in the institution registered institute list, and only the district nodal officer has to use the reset password option to reset the institute password. Okay, this is a change mobile number option. Whatever contact number is there, you can say reset password and you can reset. How to approve the institute KYC form. Next, we come to the institute KYC forms. You can, the institute, once it submits the KYC form online, first it has to submit it online, then take a printout, and along with the necessary approval documents, copy of the approval documents, nodal officer details, etc. It has to contact either through email or by post or directly to the district nodal officer. Concern any district nodal officer, it can contact any department district nodal officer, and that particular district nodal officer, he can just give the form reference number, institute reference number, like student application number. Every KYC form has a form reference number, so that reference number, it has to be given here, and once click on that, they can view the form filled by the institute, and that is displayed. Either the district nodal officer has the option to either approve the KYC form or reject the KYC form. Once it is rejected, the institute has to refill the application form again, and it has to get it approved again. So there are only two options in the approval of KYC form. Either it can district nodal officer can verify the application form or reject the KYC form. Okay, and like in the institute login also, in the under the verification option of the district nodal officer, we have the verification fresh, we have the re-verification fresh. Okay, what is difference between a verification of an application and a verification of re-verification of an application? Say for example, if a particular institute, this is common in case of institute as well as the nodal officers. In case of institutes, when what do you say, when an application is found some detail, like I told you, the application institute or the district nodal officer or the state nodal officer finds there is some data like class entered is wrong or the percentage of marks entered is wrong by the student, they can mark the application as defective. Okay, once the student gets a defective message and he corrects the defect, whatever the nodal officer specifies that this has to be corrected, the student has to correct that particular detail in his application form and resubmit the application form. Okay, so even though it is a fresh application form, that resubmitted application form will be displayed under re-verification fresh. It will not be displayed under verification. Okay, verification is for first submitted applications. Re-verification is for the defected submitted applications. Re-verification that the nodal officer has to verify the application again. Okay, and again the same process is for renewal, verification for renewal and re-verification for renewal. Again, applications, the district nodal officer has the option to mark any application as fake, fresh application, renewal application option is given here. Now we come to the report part of the nodal officer login, and you can first see the active institute details. The active institute details are the list of institutes which have been registered in NSP and have KYC approved. List of institute, whether the institute is active or not, whether it is working or not. The active details are displayed here. List of institute is displayed here, and generally scheme wise list of active institute is almost the same. This is for actually this link is for the ministries where the ministries handle more than one particular scheme. So the scheme wise list is displayed for the ministries. The fresh registration report. Now coming to the fresh registration report. Sorry, this should be a renewal registration report. Okay, fresh register. We have two reports: fresh registration report and renewal registration report. Fresh registration report gives you scheme-wise, district-wise, institute-wise list of applications submitted. Okay, it is a waterfall report, you can say. Like first scheme name is displayed, then the state. In case of ministries, the state is displayed. In case of districts, directly the list of institutions are displayed. In case of state, the districts are displayed. Okay, first click on the scheme name, then as per the nodal officer, whether he's a district nodal officer or a state nodal officer or a ministry nodal officer, the next option differs. Then the list of institutes is displayed, and once clicking on that particular institute, the numbers for that particular institute, how many applications have been submitted in that institute, how many applications have been verified by the institute, how many have been defected, how many have been rejected, how many have been marked as fake, all those numbers are displayed in this particular fresh registration report. And fresh registration report is for the fresh applications, and renewal registration report is for the renewal applications. And you can, every district nodal officer can see like how many applications are pending at each and every institute. Pending application at the institute level, it gives a list of institute and number of pending applications which is available. And registered institutes, the list of all registered institutes, KYC approved institutes, which are displayed here. Unverified application report, number of applications which are pending to be verified is displayed here. Fresh and renewal are displayed separately. Renewal list update, what are all the applications which are enabled. Like I told you in the institute login also, the list of applications which are enabled for renewal for that particular academic year is displayed here. And Okay, and know your IC code. If you don't know the AICTE code of a particular institute, you can use this option. This that directly connects to the Department of Education AICTE portal, where you can select search for that particular institute name and know the IC code, AICTE code, and what is the status of the KYC status of each and every institute that can be seen from here. And the next, you can see a lot many number of reports are available here, and again you can see what is the consolidation of institute KYC status in that particular district. That is also displayed here. Consolidation gives you the count of each and every status. What do you say, how many institutes have done finished, all the consolidated report is displayed here. And this is one of the main links which can be used. Application tracking is one of the main links which is very useful to the district nodal officers, where the district nodal officer has the option to see the exact details of each and every applications, all the details of each and every application. While giving application tracking, it will give you where the application status, whether bank detail verified, all those dashboard is displayed, and below that the whole application form is displayed, and then the status of the application is also displayed, whether the what do you say, bank detail details has been verified or not, or later on that any logs, remarks which has been displayed, all those details are displayed in the application tracking. You can see the status of each and every application. You once students start applying in the portal, you get a lot number of queries that my application is this and this, the I have not got say for example, once the final verification dates are closed, payment detail is generally payment is process is generally started, and students start complaining that my friend has got the money and I have not got the money. So what will you do? So instead of coming to NSP for each and every small detail, we have given you the option to provide the search for yourself. So what is the status of the application, why that particular applicant has not been paid. So that detail you can see from the application tracking. And you can also get the list of applications paid. List of applicants paid will be available only after the payment process has been completed. Okay, and list of applications paid and list of applications not paid, both the reports will be available only after the payment process has been completed. Again, one of the other main important reports is the list based on selected criteria. This is a very dynamic report in which you can get a number of options. I will be showing you some of the screenshots of the list based on selected criteria report. You can use this report to provide for your internal what do you call statistical reports, or any other reports, whatever you want. You can generate it. You can generate the number of columns this report should have. We have given you the column list. You can select the report should have this and this column. I want this and this to be displayed in the report. All those selection options is given to the nodal officer. The nodal officer can first initially he has to select the conditions and what type of report he wants, and based on the what are the columns to be displayed in the report, and based on the selection given by the nodal officer, the report is dynamically generated and displayed to the nodal officer. Every report which I have been showing you here has the option to either be downloaded as an Excel or a PDF. We have provided the option to download each and every report either as Excel or as PDF. So that option is also there. Again, in say some cases where there are multiple category wise applications are available. This is generally in case of central sector schemes. In case all category applications are invited, they can also generate a category wise demand report or renewal list update, or again, the verified, rejected, and defected application list is the same as in the institute login. The same type of operations can be done in this report also. And a help manual is provided to the district nodal officers. It gives you the description of each and every option available to the district nodal officer. Okay. And this fee calculated data fresh and fee calculated data renewal and scheme configuration details, these three options are generally specific to the state nodal office or the departmental nodal officer who is in charge for that particular scheme. This is a report which through which they can correlate whether NSP has done their work properly. Say for every example, every scheme which is onboarded on NSP, we configure the fee amount if there are two types of fee amount configured in NSP. One is the fee amount and another is the lump sum amount. Fee amount generally consists of admission fee, tuition fee and other miscellaneous fees, and the lump sum amount is generally the maintenance allowance and other book allowance or computer allowance. All those things are included in the maintenance allowance. Okay, so these two types of fee is generally configured for against each and every scheme, and you can see once the state nodal, since this is a district nodal officer, I am unable to show you. In case of state nodal officer, the state nodal officer has the option to verify the configuration of the scheme. Scheme configuration, there is a option. There are three options available in case of state nodal officer, extra options available in case of state nodal officer under the head administration, where they can just verify the scheme configuration. The scheme configuration lists the eligibility criteria of the scheme as mentioned in the guidelines. So who are the students eligible? Those details are configured. The state nodal officer can verify that whether NSP has done the configuration properly with that option. Number one. Number two is the fee configuration. Fee configuration is also can be checked, has to be checked by the department of every scheme owner has to check the fee configuration also before the payment process starts. He has to check the fee amount which is configured against the scheme, whether we have done it properly, whether the fee component is correct, whether the lump sum component is correct, where there are more than like day scholar fee amount, hostler fee amount, and there is a fee amount column for a correspondence also. These details as given by you, as per the guidelines given by you, we configure in NSP, but this has to be cross-verified and logged by the state nodal officer. That is mandatory. That is mandatory for the state nodal officer. District nodal officer has no role in this. Only the state nodal officer or the scheme owner has to do this operation. First is the scheme configuration, confirmation of scheme configuration. Second is the fee confirmation, whether the fee has been configured properly or not, the state nodal officer. And third, we are coming to the third, in case of post-metric applications, there is a thing called course grouping. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4. So there are 4 categories of groups in which fee amount is paid. Okay, and the courses which fall into each category should be selected by the state nodal officer. Once what happens is, once the scheme has closed, when the scheme dates are closed, NSP will display the list of courses in which the student has applied for in that particular scheme. The state nodal officer has to select the group in which, this is only in case of post-metric applications where there is a grouping of fee, like group 1 amount is different, group 2 amount is different. Wherever there is this bifurcation, this has to be done by the state nodal officer. So the list of courses will be displayed in the state nodal officer login, and the state nodal officer has to select this particular course belongs to this group and go on like that. So once that grouping is done, we will again display whatever grouping he has selected to the state nodal officer. The state nodal officer has to verify that the grouping has been done correctly, and he has to log the grouping. As in fee configuration, he has to log the grouping also. Only then, after the logging, only these two processes are completed, the fee amount will be calculated for the student and payment processing can be initiated. This is grouping is only for generally for post-metric schemes. Okay, And now coming to the fee calculated data fresh and fee calculated data renewal. Once the state nodal officer confirms the fee amount configured is correct and the course grouping has been done in case of post-metric applications, NSP calculates the fee amount for each and every application, and the fee amount is calculated separately for fresh applications and renewal applications. The state nodal officer has to confirm. They can cross verify the fee amount calculated, whether it is corrected or not. Even after confirmation of fee in common fee configuration, even after confirmation of fee configuration, we display to the state nodal officer the amount of fee calculated for each and every student. They can randomly check for 3 or 4 applications, or they can cross check each and every application whether the payment has calculation is correct or not, and they have to again confirm that the fee calculation is correct. You can proceed with the payment. This confirmation is again is to be done by the state nodal officer or the scheme owner. Okay, and the fee amount is displayed separately for fresh applications and the renewal applications. Again, scheme configuration details, it displays the scheme configuration, whatever NSP. As I told you earlier, the eligibility criteria of the scheme is displayed here. These are some format of the reports which I have been discussing earlier. This is a consolidation report of KYC of institutes. Okay, here you can see the district name and total number of registered institute in the state, in that particular district, and how many have applied for KYC and how many have been totally approved. This is the report which I was telling you earlier. That is the list based on selected criteria. Say once the district nodal officer logs in, they can select 1 to 25,000, 25,000 to 50,000, or record range, number of records to be displayed, total in a page or something like that. That can be selected here. Now they have to select whether they want the report for a fresh application or a renewal application, whether final verified application. They can select the rejected list, they can select the defective list, or they can also select the pending verification list. Okay, and once they select all these options, they can just say view list. Only this much information is needed. They can say view list and the report will be generated as it is. No, they need some extra information on the list. They have to select from here. You can see in the show more information. If you click on the show more information button, these columns are displayed. The nodal officer can select any of these columns to be included in the report before clicking on view list. Whatever column he wants to be included in that particular report, he can select here and then say view list, then the report will be generated. This is the general format of the report. By default, the list based on selected criteria report contains the application ID, applicant name, date of birth, gender, category name, father name, religion, institute, district, and course name. These are the without say, for example, if you just click on view list here, these are the details which will be displayed in the report. And if you select apart from this, you can select any of the below mentioned columns to be displayed in the report. And if you select here, that column will be added to the existing these columns. Okay, by such like this, you can generate a dynamic report which can be utilized in many ways for use, because interdepartmental reports have to be submitted from time to time. So that can be generated from here. Now coming to the configuration details. This is a scheme configuration detail report. You can see the name of the ministry here. In case of state schemes, the ministry name will be the name of the state, and the nodal officer for that particular district, whatever login is there. If it is a district login, the name of the district nodal officer will be displayed here, and all the details like scheme opening dates. Generally, in the first option, the scheme dates will be displayed here. Okay. By default, beneficiary status. Let me go one by one. This is a scheme type. top is it is a pre-matric scheme, whether it is a state scheme or a central scheme. It is a central sector scheme. MoMA pre-matric is a central sector scheme that is displayed here. In case of schemes of Puducherry, if it is a pre-matric scheme, it will be displayed as pre-matric, and here it will be shown as a state scheme. Okay, and whether it is a scholarship scheme or an incentive scheme will be displayed here. What is the opening date and what is the scheme opening date, what is the scheme closing date, and what if renewal is applicable for the scheme, the renewal opening date and renewal closing date, in first level closing date, second level closing date. Generally it is all three, only these three are same. Ministry, state and district are same. It will be displayed like whatever the date is configured for that particular second level verification level. If it is configured at district, it will be displayed in district. It will be displayed as NA for these two, and if it is configured as state, then it will state date will be displayed under state, and these two will be NA. So scheme DBT code, DBT mission code, which the scheme owner gives at the time of configuration, that will be displayed here. Beneficiary type ID is also displayed. PFMS scheme detail, scheme code is displayed. PFMS purpose code is displayed, and the beneficiary status of the particular scheme, whether the scheme applicants in the scheme are enabled to be sent for beneficiary. The beneficiary status is whether the applicants in that particular scheme have been enabled yet for to be sent for beneficiary is displayed under beneficiary status, and what is the payment status, whether payment has been initiated for that particular scheme. So that detail is displayed either as true or false here. Course grouping, in case of post-matric cases, course grouping, whether it has been done, true will come only after the locking of the course grouping. And fee logic, whether the fee logic, whether the fee configuration has been confirmed by the nodal officer or not, that again will come here. This is a scheme configuration details which are displayed to the nodal officers. And state nodal officer details is displayed. This is displayed in case of state login, state nodal officer login. Scheme configuration details I've already shown you. Scholarship amount details is the fee configuration, which again has to be logged. And what are all the documents, mandatory documents which have been configured for that particular scheme is displayed under document required. Application status, what is the total number of applications, verified, defected, rejected, count, vagera, that will be displayed here. And beneficiary code status, whether how many applications have received beneficiary, how many are pending, how many have been rejected, all those beneficiary details is displayed here. NSP generally starts sending the applications for beneficiary once the scheme dates are closed. Okay, so once NSP starts receiving final submit, generally the process starts after the students final submits its application. Immediately the bank details are sent for beneficiary, whether it is validated or not. And when the bank details are not validated by PFMS, what will happen is the student gets an SMS that your bank details entered by the student is invalid. And in that case, the student gets an additional option in the student login. No one else can change the bank details. Only the student can change the bank details. In case of a beneficiary failure, the student is sent an SMS and a separate option is made available to the student login and update bank details. It is displayed separately. The student cannot change it in the application form. He has to use this update bank details option to change the bank details. Whether if the reason for rejection will also be sent to the student in the SMS. The student has to correct, say the bank account is dormant, the bank account is closed. He has to give all these details or sent to the student through SMS, and the student can change the bank detail through this option. Okay, so that is the beneficiary code status displayed here, and that is the option provided to the students for change of bank account details. Again, payment status is the same. Once the payment process has been initiated, you can see the number of applications processed for a payment and number of applications payment failure, and all those details are displayed in a payment status. Again, verification flow, what is the first level of verification and what is the second level of verification of the particular scheme. Some schemes, the verification first level is always institute, as I told you, and second level is either district or state. That will be displayed here. And the course fee groups, which the state nodal officer configures as per the courses displayed in case of post-matric applications, will be displayed here. Okay, this is the state nodal officer login, and you can, as you can see here, you can what you can do is you can add a district user. You can use this option to add any district user. The state nodal officer, since NSP provides only the state nodal officer login details, the state nodal officer has to use this district user option to create new district users. This is the verification screen shown in the state nodal officer. It is very similar to the district nodal officer login and the reports which are available. Again, in the state nodal officer login, we have one more option called the verification log details. The verification log details will display the logs of a single particular application, in which state it was verified, in which state it was defected, what is the date, time, and IP address, who did that. All those log details will be displayed for a single particular application. This is one of the extra reports which is available to the state nodal officer. Apart from that, we have the other verified applications, and we have a number of statistical reports which gives you a count of category wise or that type. It is simple reports, count reports. Okay, so I think that is all from my side. And anything else? Anything else? Can we wrap up?
Madam, one doubt.
Yeah.
Balabasan speaking from Pondicherry.
Okay.
Whether this the scheme is now applicable for 2020-21 only, or for applicable to 2019-20 batch also?
The scheme, all the schemes of Pondicherry, Puducherry have been introduced only in the academic year 2021. So you will not be able to log in the previous academic years.
Okay. Suppose if it is so, means one more doubt. For the period 2019-20, we have received application and we will be receiving application because of this COVID, no? And we have sufficient funds, whether we can operate through by getting a sanction from the state government itself.
I'm not able to understand your question.
For the period 2019-20, we have to make payments.
Sir, NSP is not concerned with the payments for the academic year 1920 because your scheme was not onboarded in NSP for the academic year 1920. We don't know about the payments for 1920. That you have to consult with the department directly.
Okay.
Anything else? Any doubts?
That's the doubt, madam. And another thing, madam.
Yeah.
How is the payment is made? Is it through PFMS only?
Yes, the payment is made through PFMS. Like I told you, the payment process, payment is the payment is a two-level process. Okay, like I told you, once the student submits the submits the application, the bank account details entered by the student is sent for beneficiary of the student, and once we get the beneficiary of the student, and payment can be initiated for the student after the second level. Can you please mute your mics? Okay, the payment process generally is initiated after, like I told you, the fee configuration is logged by the state nodal officer. The course grouping is done by the state nodal officer in case of post-metric, and fee amount calculated is confirmed by the state nodal officer and logged by the state nodal officer. After these three processes completed, and the beneficiary is fourth process is the beneficiary is already received for the particular student. So all those students whose beneficiary have been validated or received from PFMS, we can start the payment process after completing all this process. That is the two-level process which is followed in NSP. And the payment file is this year, the process of payment, actually it was not in the PPT. What is to be done by the district nodal officer or the state nodal officer? What has to be done is the payment file is the district nodal officer or the state nodal officer. I think it is the state nodal officer in case of state schemes who generally is responsible for the payment of the applications in the particular scheme. He has to select the applications. The list of applications which can be paid will be displayed in the state nodal officer login, and the state nodal officer has to select the applications which need to be paid, and he has to generate a payment file, and he has to digitally sign the payment file in NSP itself. Can you understand this? Hello? Mr. Vedapuri Bala Bhaskaran. Yeah, please mute your mic. See, I am not finished actually. There is a change in the process of payment. That is what I am trying to explain here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, madam. Please. Okay. No, that doubt I have cleared.
Hello?
Okay.
See, the digital signature has to be done by the state nodal officer in the NSP login itself. There is a change here. Previous years, it was the digital signature was done in the PFMS login, but this year, the digital signature, the state nodal officer has to enroll the digital signature in NSP, National Scholarship Portal itself, and then they have to sign the payment file using that particular digital signature, which he has already enrolled in the National Scholarship Portal. There is a change in the payment process this year, which we have, due to PFMS mandate, we have introduced this year. And PFMS is accepting for payment only digitally signed files from NSP. So the digital signature has to be done in NSP. That is a change, one of the more changes which has been introduced this year. Okay, so that process will be again available in the state nodal officer login, who is in charge for the payment. Once digitally signs and submit, the digitally signed file will be sent to PFMS for payment. Anything else? Any other doubts? No doubts at all. Kumaran sir? Can we wrap up this if you are if you're not having any doubts?
Hello, madam. I am
Yes.
from Karaikal NIC. Actually,
Yeah.
You have got schemes for pre-metric and post-metric. Here, 1 to 5, they are having some retention scheme, they are saying. Actually, I am also not clear. Is that also can be handled or what?
Yeah.
It should be handled in pre-metric. Huh?
See, I told you some state schemes, they have groupings for pre-metric schemes also. Like in the pre-metric OBC scheme, if you can take up the pre-metric OBC scheme, which is already configured for the UT of Puducherry, we have already launched that particular scheme, pre-metric OBC scheme. If you see the scheme configuration properly, there is a difference between the payment to eligibility criteria for class 1 and class 2 in case of pre-matric OBC scheme. Whereas in case of day scholars, the pre-matric OBC scheme is available only from class 3 to class 10. And in case of hostler, I think in case of hostler, the scheme is available only from class 3 to class 10, whereas in the case of day scholar, the scheme is available from class 1 to class 10. So there is a difference here. There is a grouping here. Class 1 and class 2 is separate, and class 3 to class 10 is separate. There is a grouping in the pre-matric scheme itself, and payment is made accordingly. So wherever there is a necessity, groups are configured in pre-matric also.
Okay,
Can you
madam.
understand
Thank you.
what I'm
Thank-
saying?
Yes, I can understand. But
Yeah.
when practically doing, they will have some doubts that can be cleared, madam.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you,
You
madam.
can contact me anytime. No issues.
Thank you, madam.
Okay. Anything else, sir? Kumaran sir, can we finish this? Kumaran? I think Mr. Kumaran is still itself is not available.
Ma'am, I think Mr. Kumran has some problem with his mic.
I
So,
see.
Kumran sir, if there is anything, please write on the chat box or call me or Priya ma'am. Just hold on for a minute maximum. Let's see if Kumran sir has to say something, or else we wrap up.
Yeah, I
And,
think we can wrap up. I think people are leaving already.
Yeah, time is also past the scheduled time.
Yeah.
So everyone else, if there is any problem, please
No,
write back.
Mr. Kumaran is calling me. Just wait.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Madam, there is some problem in my mic. We can wrap up, madam.
Okay. Mr. Kumaran is saying we can wrap up. Okay.
Right. In
So,
case
Ankit, we
any
can.
problems, any issues, any clarifications, please everyone write back to Kumran sir so that he can redirect the queries, collate and redirect appropriately. Please do not send individual mails. That is a request. So with this, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for attending. And if you have any doubts, I will be sending the PPT to Mr. Kumaran. If you want to see the PPT, you can get it from Mr. Kumaran. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, Puducherry Nodal Officer. Sir, Puducherry, backward class minorities. Hello.
ನಾವು